With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU.
Okay, so that makes 3 LSU Tigers, and so Jaden Daniels' 2 prime targets are now out of the green room, and I guess he's entering the teal room now in Duval County. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU is going to go catch passes from Trevor Lawrence.
Out goes Calvin Ridley, and they replace him via the draft here with a very explosive, high-flying receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. That LSU offense, we've talked about Jaden Daniels, we've talked about Neighbors. This dude's no slouch now. He put up huge numbers, and most of it deep down the field, a true vertical weapon. See him walking towards the stage here, Joel.
He was 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
all right?
big time
so
production.
It wasn't all just because Malik Neighbors on the other side. This kid created as well.
And loves football. He was an all-state basketball player in high school and actually gave basketball up. Why? For his first love, which is football. And that obviously catapulted him in the recruiting ranks. And yes, did he benefit a little bit from having Malik Neighbors on the other? Sure, yes, but he has so much speed. And that offense, it was just beautiful to watch. This is a big reason why Jaden Daniels had 100 explosive plays between his own runs and then throwing the ball to these two guys.
Don't throw him a shallow cross and expect to go get him real easily.
Yeah, he is silky smooth, and the tracking skills down the field, that is his secret sauce. The ability to not only get up to that top speed, but locate and track the ball and make those big plays for his quarterback. Here's that vertical gear. I think about guys when the ball goes up, look at the separation. You're even, you're leaving when you're watching him. You can be in great coverage. Once that ball goes up, he can tap into another gear. Also down in the red zone, he can play above the rim. He can really elevate and jump. The catch radius gives you a friendly target. You can be a little bit of miss, and he can still haul the ball in with that length as well as that big-time speed. Contact strength. Usually you get these flyers, these speed merchants. They can't play through contact. He does have that ability. He was a number 4 wide receiver for me in this draft, and I love this fit here. Out goes Calvin Ridley. In comes Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr. Take us through it there, Lance Zierlein.
Brian Thomas Jr. has tremendous speed. So when you watch the offense for LSU, he was able to work the deep middle. He was able to work down the sidelines, and wherever he worked, he was separating. And he has natural, easy, smooth speed so that he's got that separation potential. I think something that actually stood out about Brian Thomas, even ahead of Malik Neighbors, was his ability to win the jump balls in the end zone. I think that's one area where Malik can get a little bit better in the end zone, but with the catch radius and his ability to win the ball deep with his tracking and his rise above the rim, I think that's something that really is going to be an element that Trevor Lawrence loves. Look, this pick of Brian Thomas, last year, before the season started, the talk was about, man, Trevor Lawrence, what about that comeback against the Chargers?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then once the season got started, it's all C.J. Stroud. And so now the Texans are the new dog on the block. And with Trevor Lawrence, if you want to get the most out of the Trevor Lawrence that we're all waiting to see, this generational type talent, give him some wide receivers like Brian Thomas, and let's see what can happen. We've got Gabe Davis, who's a straight vertical guy, and now you've got Brian Thomas, who can work a variety of routes. I really like that now you are giving your quarterback the best chance, I think, that he's had since being in Jacksonville of being an explosive passer by adding a player like Brian Thomas.
With the 48th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Maason Smith, defensive tackle, LSU.
Yeah, Maason Smith, he is tall and long. You think about the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trent Baalke, they love guys with big-time traits. The upside is the name you see on the bottom there with Christian Barmore. Is more of a flash player coming off injury. When he first got on the field as a freshman there, everybody was raving about this is going to be a top 10 potential pick. Then the injury then was a little slow to come back from that. But when you look at him, Joel, and you're looking at trying to build out your defensive front, and you bring over Eric Armstead, who's huge. We know about Trayvon Walker and what a physical freak he was as the first overall pick. They've got some rare dudes now just in terms of the size, length, and athleticism up front.
And with that depth, you also get some versatility. He played 3 technique just outside of the guard of the offensive line, but he can line up everywhere. He only played 22 games because of that injury, so he does need some development.
And there's a lot of talk in Jacksonville about taking Trayvon Walker and kicking him inside more, and I think that they really want to leave him out on the edge. Maason Smith will lessen that thought process about moving a pass rusher like that inside. Trent Baalke hedging his bets on that one really well.
I want to echo those sentiments there from James Stewart on the loss of his sister. But, boy, the Jaguars get another big man. We know that fits the Trent Baalke bill there.
Yeah. Look, it certainly fits the bill for Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke is a traits guy. He wants them big. He wants them physical. He wants to make sure that they check off all those athletic profile tendencies. This is a guy who, look, you don't see the sack production, but what you do see is the ruggedness at the point of attack. And I'll be honest, the Jaguars were fed up with not being able to play the run well, fed up with the lack of physicality and toughness on their defense. So they go and get a guy who can wreck shop on the inside. You get a chance to put him right beside Eric Armstead. Yeah, you have Roy Robinson Harris, but this is a pick that's designed to add some physicality and toughness to that interior.
Yeah, he's got traits too. I mean, he's a tall, long guy along the interior. And you saw they drafted Trayvon Walker, who had some of the same physical characteristics, but at defensive end. He gives you some of these characteristics along the interior where he can stack and separate. And I think he still has to become a better football player, but the traits are all there. He's just has to, the contact balance can be a little iffy along the interior, which happens sometime with taller prospects. They don't have the same leverage at the point of attack. So it'll be interesting where they line him up along the front.
Yeah, and now the Jaguars have a pair of Tiger teammates.
With the 96th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jarrian Jones, defensive back, Florida State.
Yeah, so they go out and get a corner here in Jarrian Jones. How many nickels have we seen go today? And it just shows you that nickel's a starter in this league. It has been for some time.
We might as well list 12 guys on offense, 12 guys on defense, right, Joel? So you got to list the slot receiver, you got to list the nickel player because they're on the field 70% of the time anyway. And so that's what you're looking for. And remember, Jacksonville Jaguars lost some people in the secondary. Darius Williams ended up going back to the Los Angeles Rams for one. So this is another way to try and fortify what they're trying to do as they try and get back into the action AFC South.
You think they'll have a little rematch there, Jarrian Jones, Brian Thomas, they get out there for that first mini camp?
Yeah,
I would think so. Off the season,
absolutely.
Round 2.
I would think so.
With the 114th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Javon Foster, tackle, Missouri.
Yeah, two-time captain there at Missouri, plays left tackle. I thought he might have to kick inside and play some guard. He's got some power, but he's a little bit tight in terms of the ankles and the hips, but real physical. He'll benefit from moving inside, in my opinion.
Be surprised if he doesn't move inside, compete with Ezra Cleveland at left guard right off the top.
So they added their offensive line.
With the 116th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jordan Jefferson, nose tackle, LSU.
So they took Maason Smith out of LSU in the second round and now take basically his next door neighbor.
Had a good meal at that pro day, and they were in a great mood and came out of there with 2 defensive linemen. LSU has been a defensive line factory. This is more of the nose tackle variety. He's got some real shock in his hands. The production is not going to blow you away, very limited there, but he can use his quickness inside, get in gaps and make some things happen. Also has long arms, which you love to work with. So again, at this point in time, tools and things to work with here in the 4th round.
With the 153rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Deantre Prince, defensive back, Mississippi.
So Deantre Prince has tremendous speed. He's a sub 4.4 cornerback, has dealt with a lot of adversity. And this is something he had the tragedy, the deaths of a cousin and a friend in a car accident that was just crushing to him. He's admitted that he wasn't the most mature player at Ole Miss. He left Ole Miss for a while, then came back, said maturity was a real issue. Went to Northeast Mississippi Community College. So this has been a journey getting to this point for him. Sometimes players like that, you like it because they know what it is to overcome adversity. They know what it is to try to, to make a difference after maybe disappointing early on.
With the 167th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Keilan Robinson, running back, Texas.
Sneaky pick, Jacksonville. I see you trying to sneak around and go grab one of the fastest running backs that you're going to find in this draft, at least play speed. He plays very fast. Keilan Robinson, is just not talked about enough. Just watch this highlight reel tape, Mike, and why don't you give me an evaluation of what you see as you watch it?
I see a hole that's quite large.
Yeah,
too,
that
so
helps.
That will absolutely help. I can't help but wonder when you got a guy like Jonathan Brooks also on that roster, how that changes your perception. But clearly a little bit of a playmaker here.
He is. He stays low. You see low pad level, very smooth in terms of his acceleration. He's got the good agility left and right. He's got some return ability. Look at that last stat you saw, kick return touchdown. Every other year we're like, who cares? So what? You're not getting a kick return. Now it's really big, and this is probably going to be the kick return touchdown. You see him navigate just like a running back is going to do between the tackles, and then once he gets going, he is going to be gone. Keilan Robinson, sneaky pick by Jacksonville because he's got instant kick return potential for you, but he can also play out of the backfield as a change of pace back and then a receiving option.
Just a little on the shorter side for me. So
yeah, he is.
He's not the tallest guy, but I think.
Or the biggest.
Right. I like their analytics team there at the Jags, so I do believe that there's probably things that we aren't even thinking that they'll do with him that they're trying to solve.
With the 212th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Cam Little, kicker, Arkansas.
This is starting to feel like my fantasy draft. Towards the end, you get the run on the kickers, and that's exactly what we are in store for. What did we say that was? Third in how many picks?
9 picks, I believe.
Yeah,
7, 8, 9.
Third
no,
and 9.
10. Third out of the last 10.
Third out of the last 10.
30% of the draft right now over at least that's how it's trending.
So
the last 10.
Here's the thing about the Jaguars and the kicking in. The Jaguars have not had consistent kickers last 3 or 4 years. It's cost him games. It changes the way that you have to call the game as a play caller. What they would like is someone that is nails. Whenever the ball gets to the 30, 35-yard line, you can trot them out there and knock it in. They haven't had that, and it's really cost them because now you have to be more aggressive down the red zone. That leads to more turnovers, takes points away. If the Jaguars are going to maximize their potential as a playoff contender, they need a consistent, a rock-solid kicker in place.
So with the 236th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Myles, defensive end, Texas Tech.